In the dim, shifting light of the Nine Realms, there is one figure whose name stirs both awe and suspicion. He is neither fully friend nor outright enemy, neither pure hero nor complete villain. His laughter can charm kings, yet his schemes can bring gods to their knees. In the halls of Asgard, his wit once saved lives; in the fires of fate, his cunning would bring about the end of the world. This is Loki, the trickster god, the shapeshifter, the master of words and illusions. To some, he is a genius of mischief, a force of change that keeps the cosmos from growing stagnant. To others, he is a bringer of chaos, the one who will guide the final blow against the gods themselves. But Loki's tale is not a simple one of betrayal and destruction. It is a winding path of loyalty and treachery, of laughter and tears, of victories that cost too much, and of mistakes that could never be undone. Today, we journey deep into Norse myth, to uncover how one god's cleverness would shape the fate of the Nine Realms, and how the bonds he once cherished would lead him to unleash Ragnarok, the twilight of the gods. In the beginning, before Loki's name was ever spoken in the halls of Asgard, the Nine Realms were still young. The gods of the Aesir ruled from their golden stronghold, their power woven into the balance of the worlds. Odin, the All-Father, sat upon his high throne in Valhalla, his one eye always searching for wisdom and foreknowledge. Thor, his thunder-wielding son, was the hammer of the gods, protector of Midgard. Around them were deities of strength, beauty, and justice, a pantheon united in purpose, if not always in perfect harmony. And into this grand order came a figure unlike any other, a god not born of Asgard, but of Jotunheim, the land of giants. Loki's father was Farbodi, a giant whose strikes were like the blows of storm and fire. His mother, Laufey, was swift and subtle, her presence more like the whisper of wind than the roar of thunder. From them, Loki inherited a complex nature, cunning, quick-minded, unpredictable. Though he was of giant blood, Loki was welcomed into Asgard as a blood brother to Odin. Why Odin chose to bind himself to such a wild spirit has been a question debated by skalds and storytellers for centuries. Some say Odin foresaw that Loki's wit would save the gods in times of peril. Others claim Odin simply admired Loki's intellect, for in a world of warriors, a mind that could outmatch a sword was rare indeed. From the moment he set foot in Asgard, Loki was both ally and enigma. He could entertain with tales so vivid they made even the stern Heimdall smile, and he could devise plans so clever they turned certain defeat into triumph. Yet for every act of loyalty, there seemed to be another driven by mischief or self-interest. One day, he would rescue the goddess Idun and her golden apples from the grasp of a giant eagle, restoring the gods' youth and strength. Another day, he would mock the same gods at a feast, speaking truths edged with insult, turning laughter into tension. Loki's greatest gift was his shape-shifting. With a thought, he could become a salmon, slipping through the fingers of pursuers. With a grin, he could turn into a mare, a bird, or even another person entirely. This ability was not mere illusion. In each form, he became fully what he appeared to be. It was this power, combined with his silver tongue, that allowed him to weave himself into nearly every great tale of the Norse gods. One early story reveals much about his dual nature. The walls of Asgard were once incomplete, leaving the gods vulnerable to attacks from giants. A mysterious builder offered to finish them in a short time, asking in return the sun, the moon, and the hand of the goddess Freya. The Aesir agreed only on the condition that the builder completed the work in an impossibly short season, without aid. But the builder had a powerful stallion, Svadilfari, who hauled stones with astonishing speed. Seeing the gods about to lose the bet, Loki transformed himself into a beautiful mare to lure Svadilfari away. The plan worked, the walls were not finished on time, and the gods kept their treasures. Yet from this strange act came an even stranger result. Loki, in mare form, bore a foal, an 8-legged horse named Sleipnir, who would become Odin's trusted steed. Such stories illustrate the paradox of Loki. Without his interference, the gods might have lost everything, yet his methods often blurred the line between heroism and trickery. Still, For many years, Loki stood beside the Aesir, sharing in their victories and feasts. He was even a companion to Thor in several adventures, though the two could not have been more different. Thor was direct, honest, and quick to anger. Loki was subtle, calculating, and quick to laugh at danger. One of their most famous journeys together was to the land of the giants, where Loki's quick thinking saved them from deadly contests. When challenged to an eating race, Loki devoured not just the meat but the bones and the trough, only to discover his opponent was the embodiment of wildfire. In another contest, he tried to drink from a horn connected to the sea itself, lowering its level without realizing it. Though he often lost these games, the revelations at the end proved the challenges were illusions meant to humble the gods. Loki's presence turned each trial into a riddle, and though Thor's hammer provided muscle, it was Loki's mind that revealed the truth. Yet, for all his usefulness, cracks began to form in Loki's bond with the gods. Part of it came from his own restlessness. In Asgard, honor and tradition guided every action. Loki, however, thrived on unpredictability. His jokes sometimes cut too deep. His schemes, once admired for their brilliance, began to draw suspicion. The seeds of mistrust were planted, and in time, they would grow into a tree whose branches reached into every corner of the 9 realms. The turning point came with the tale of Baldr, the beloved son of Odin and Frigg. Baldr was radiant, wise, and kind, loved by gods and mortals alike. But he was troubled by dreams of his own death. Frigg, desperate to protect him, went to every being and object in the cosmos, asking them to swear never to harm her son. All agreed, all, that is, except the mistletoe, a small plant she thought too harmless to matter. Loki learned of this oversight. Whether out of envy, resentment, or a desire to prove that fate could not be bound by oaths, he fashioned a dart from mistletoe. During a game where the gods hurled objects at Baldr in jest, confident nothing could harm him, Loki handed the blind god Hodr the dart and guided his aim. The mistletoe struck true, and Baldr fell lifeless. The shock of this moment rippled through Asgard. The gods grieved, but their sorrow soon turned to anger. Loki, fearing their wrath, disguised himself and fled. Yet the truth could not be hidden forever. When he was finally captured, the gods chose a punishment that would echo through eternity. Loki was bound in a cave with the entrails of his own son, a venomous serpent dripping poison onto his face. His wife, Sigyn, stayed beside him, catching the venom in a bowl, but whenever she emptied it, the drops that struck Loki's skin made him writhe in agony. These convulsions, the myths say, were the cause of earthquakes, but prophecy had already marked Loki's path. Long before Baldr's death, seers had spoken of Ragnarok, the great end of the world, when Loki would break free from his bonds, leading the giants and monstrous forces against the gods. In this final battle, the sky would split, the seas would rise, and even the mightiest would fall. Loki's own children were key to this fate: the wolf Fenrir, destined to kill Odin, the serpent Jormungandr, fated to fight Thor, and Hel, ruler of the realm of the dead. When the appointed time came, the bonds could no longer hold him. Loki emerged, no longer the charming trickster of old, but a commander of chaos. Ships made from the nails of the dead sailed toward the battlefield of Vigrid. Loki's allies were the giants, the dead, and the very forces the gods had long sought to contain. Facing him across the field were those he had once feasted with, those who had once called him brother. The battle was fierce beyond measure, but it was not told in gore alone. The clash was also symbolic, the order of the cosmos meeting the inevitability of change and destruction. Thor and Jormungandr would destroy each other. Odin would fall to Fenrir, only for his son Vidar to avenge him. Loki himself would face Heimdall, the watchman of the gods, in a duel that ended with both lying dead. When the dust of Ragnarok settled, much of the old world was gone. The seas covered the land, the stars fell, and the sky was remade. Yet from the ruin, a new world emerged, green, fertile, and ready for those who survived to begin again. Even in his role as destroyer, Loki had been part of a greater cycle. In Norse thought, endings are also beginnings. The trickster who brought chaos also cleared the way for renewal, and so Loki remains one of the most complex figures in mythology, a god of contradictions, whose actions were both the salvation and the doom of the gods. He reminds us that in every society, change comes from those who do not fit neatly into its rules, and that mischief, while dangerous, can also be the spark that lights the way to transformation. His laughter still echoes in the stories told around fires, a reminder that the line between friend and foe is not always clear, and that sometimes, the end of one world is the beginning of another.